What's up? Ask My Words once again, live in effect. Yo, for all the people who don't know, it's Ask My Words, born in Philadelphia, 1974, and partially raised all over the East Coast. Now resides in Atlanta, Georgia. Spend a lot of my younger years in Brunswick, Georgia. South, almost in Jacksonville, Georgia. Boxing, always loved it. And I want to talk about a few different things going on in boxing. Start off with two of the greatest amateurs in the boxing game ever. You know, right out of Philadelphia. I had the ability to spar with and I had the ability to spar with two of the greatest back in like '98. Terrence Carthren, he was a medalist in the Olympics back I think in 90, it might have been 96 Olympics. And then Ivan Robinson, which was a man that I looked up to for many years as a kid, coming up in Nicetown, part of Philadelphia, North Philly. He was the local superhero when it came to boxing. And when I look back at him and Terrence Carthren, I can see what transitions they couldn't make coming into the pros. But no doubt about it, they were some of the most, especially Ivan Robinson was a fantastic boxer, man. Very athletically gifted, very good at boxing, mechanicals, knowledge, and everything. It's just he was missing one element. Same with Tarrence. Was missing a great element in boxing, and it's sad that most people are missing the same element today. We call it defense, but I call it the other part, the other half of boxing. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a defense without offense. You can't have an offense without defense. And like I said, back in '80 and '89, I used to train with Joe Frazier. I trained at his gym anyway. They had it set up real nice. For many years, Joe Frazier had a camp at his gym up in North Philly on Broad Street. He had a camp where he would have pros live upstairs in his place. Well, he offered me to live there because I was like a Rolling Stone young boy, living with my aunt. Left my mother and my father. My father was on drugs in the streets of Philly. And my mother, I left her. Actually, she was in New York with her husband. And so I came up pretty rough at times, but I still had good sense. And I love boxing. So I ended up at Joe Frazier's gym, and I knocked out in a fight, actually a boxing match before that. I was at Joe Hand's gym with Howard Mosley, and I was very naturally blessed. That's when I sparred with Ivan Robinson, and I had that experience. It was nice. I had a lot of experiences. Anybody who know me on Facebook, YouTube, y'all know me. I talk about it a lot. I sparred with Roberto Duran, and Terrence Carthren and was one of those people, and they couldn't wait for me to spar him because what happened is in a match prior to that, I knocked out Joe Frazier, one of his national guys and one of his top amateurs. They was ready to turn him pro, I guess, or whatever. But after I knocked him out, I put him to sleep. He slid under the lowest part of the ring, And there was another popular guy named Aaron Torres. If y'all remember him on The Contender, Aaron Torres was one of the baddest young boys come out of Philadelphia, baddest boxers ever. And he told me that, one of the famous things I always remember about him is, I was always praying, and like before the match I would pray. And he said, man, if you if you gonna be beating people up like that, I'm gonna be Muslim like you. You know, I don't think he ever became Muslim, but you know, nevertheless, that's just one of the things I always remember. So anyway, Terrence Carthren and Ivan Robinson up at Frazier's amateurs boxing. And when me and Terrence finally boxed, because they wanted to see that so bad, he was boxing scared, but he was watching out because they was, I knocked that guy out like brutal, so they thought I was like Mike Tyson at that point in time. But little did he know, to be completely honest, he was more experienced. He could box better than me. He could box better than me. But I was watching a video of Ivan Robinson and Emmanuel Augustus. And, Emmanuel Augustus has been there and done that. So it's always a truth teller for anybody to fight him. And when when Robinson fought him, Ivan fought him. It was refreshing to see why Robinson was one of the greatest amateurs that ever lived, and definitely one of the greatest that came out of Philadelphia. And Robinson, in that fight with Augustus, was still when his mind was right and he was able to have fun at what he do, and he beat Augustus at every way. He beat him on athleticism, he beat him on skill, knowledge, wisdom. He had something to answer for everything Augustus came with. Even when Augustus tried to play around, Augustus' thing, when he started moving, getting on his little rhythm thing, he couldn't do that with Ivan, and it was just refreshing to see Robinson at his best, especially when you grow up in North Philly and you hear about him. He's like a myth, like a legend, So that was good to see that old match, and but also, Ask My Wedge always gonna tell the truth. And I can show you any criticism. And my criticism on that, as well as Terrence Carthren, is the fact that they never learned to make that transition. And many fighters, many great amateurs, actually the one who's looked at as the best amateur ever, probably had the best knockout record in amateurs, best record or whatever. What's his name? Was with Holyfield in them in the Olympics. Nevertheless, y'all know who I'm talking about. He's actually training the heavyweight now. What's his name? God, my mental is gone right now, man. But anyway, I'm just waking up, man. Just chilling. Just decided to get on here and make this what's on my mind, man. I got to get it off my mind. This is how I do it. And hopefully, I wish I could do it on the video. So while y'all watching Ivan and my man fight, but y'all already know, y'all seen it before. Augustus couldn't deal with my man Ivan. I keep saying Iverson, man. Ivan Robinson. But nevertheless, back to my point about what they're missing. They're missing with a lot of amateurs, and mostly the best amateurs, they can't make that transition to the pro. And what they're missing is what they call defense. But it's not defense. It's just they're missing how not to get hit. Simple and plain. How not to get hit. You don't hit nobody with the intentions of hurting somebody, thinking that they're not going to try to hurt you. That is not boxing. There's something missing. It's like a missing piece in the brain or something. And it's sad that so many fighters are being trained this way. They have been trained this way. And I guess it's just part of entertainment. 1 out of every 20 fighter learns how to defend himself. And I learned it. Praise be to God. I learned it basically from just growing up and being around so many great fighters, being around so many great trainers, being in the gym and being tough enough to not get beat up, and being fast enough to compete with them, and being smart enough to get the moves down that quickly. So I was gifted and blessed in that way, even though I didn't make it famous and all that. But I did learn one thing that can go with me for the rest of my life, if God is willing, and that's the fact that every time you put your hand on somebody to hurt them, believe me, you got to have something ready. You either going to move, block, move, block, punch back, and they say offense is your best defense. In some cases, that's true. But defense is a whole thing all by itself. Has nothing to do with offense. Defense, other than that transition between the two, happens in offense and defense. So it's really, they're the same, but you must learn it separately before you can put it together and get the beautiful benefit of having it. So I hate when people refer to defensive boxing because, it's much more than just learning how to defend yourself in defense. You gotta learn how to use it to where it's part of your offense. For instance, Floyd Mayweather and this guy McGregor. I think this is going to be the greatest thing Floyd ever did. And I think this is going to be history in the making. I think this is going to be a great thing. I think, it took me a while to realize what's going on. But Floyd is like years above everybody else, man. We thinking about him fighting somebody tough. Everybody want to see Floyd fight somebody to get beat. But nobody is recognizing the history Floyd is making right now. How he is making boxing the forefront of conversations in every household. First of all, now he's trying to merge boxing because of our racial situations in our society. We're such a racist people that, unfortunately, but such a racist people that Floyd is doing a great thing the way that we like it. White versus black. And the MMA is primarily white and supported by white and practiced by white. So, of course, there's some black involved, but the thing is, the foundation comes from, it represents white, even if it don't. Okay? Even if it's based off of Chinese people, it still represents white in America. So now Floyd was smart enough to allow a white man to use his fame to become even famous more. Because there's more white people than it is black people in this country. And the people that support boxing matches, there's more white people. So, white versus the toughest men on the earth, which are black, is going to be a phenomenon event. There's going to be so many people at this fight, more than any boxing match he ever did. This is going to be way bigger than boxing. This is going to be way bigger than boxing. People who this is crazy. I mean, any fighter, Muhammad Ali, Matthew Saad, Muhammad, many fighters went over another country, and fought their fighters just to get the people to support, to merge boxing, which is the most exciting sport and the most competitive sport, and with the toughest people on earth, black people, got them to merge with some Chinese people or some Vietnam people or some jiu-jitsu people or some soccer people. If you can get a Muhammad Ali or Matthew Saad Muhammad or Floyd Money Mayweather to merge with your white people who are already supportive, you got a phenomenon. Of course, I hear a lot of people on Facebook saying that Floyd is supported by black people. This is a black guy for black people. Come on, man. Are you kidding? Sure, Floyd is supported by black people, but that's like the size of an ant in the world. So why not come together? Why not come out of that ant-sized mentality? I'm black. Why not be black amongst the world? Why are you going to be black and do for yourself and be to yourself and be by yourself? Because in reality, when you die, you're going to be by yourself for real. And there ain't going to be no color, no nothing. So while you're here living, go ahead and join everybody, man. Why you still being black? I'd rather be a spot of black in a whole world of colors. Because then I'll shine and I'll be beautiful, you know? Then just being one black spot over here, one white spot over here, one orange spot over here, and they never connected. It's not what the world about. So Floyd is doing a great thing, man. Y'all just don't see it yet. Yo. So Floyd, man, when you see this video, man, get with me, man. Ask my wedge. Peace. Oh, come to Robert Pelez, YouTube, Robert Pelez, boxing. And select the one where you see the most videos for me boxing with the kids, Tawheed, my son, and all the other little events, the analysts I give, you know, check me out, show me some love, you know, and spread the word. Ask My Wedge is here to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the boxing truth. Peace.